Of this series, that's exactly what happened. When filming started almost 3 years ago in the summer of 2006, business was booming. We had almost full employment. Finance was easy to get, although builders could pretty much name their price. It was a very different Ireland, and the people who feature in this series set out on their journeys with the optimism of that time. Getting permission to build a house in the countryside can be difficult. The planning system is often downright baffling. But Patrick and Julie Elwood are determined to build a dream home in the country. It's led them to this site, 5 miles from Sligo town. They've chosen it because, as well as being beautiful, it's got outline planning permission, which means that, in principle, the local council have said a house can be built here. Sites like this are hard to come by and often cost a lot of money. Julie, how much did the site cost you?
It was 225,000 plus stamp duty, so it came out about 248,000.
My God, that sounds like an absolutely astonishing figure.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
For how much acreage?
This is 0.78 of an acre,
yeah.
And to get anything within a 5 mile radius of Sligo town, you're looking at an awful lot of money, particularly if it's got planning permission already on it.
The outline planning permission comes with restrictions. It's for a 1,650 square foot bungalow. But after paying all that money, the Elwoods want to build something special here. Dennis Byrne is an award-winning architect, and I think he can design a house to satisfy both planners and clients. Today is his first time to visit the site. Dennis, what's your feeling about the site?
Well, you really feel you're in the middle of the countryside, which is, I suppose, a great privilege, really. The horizon line is quite high, so it's quite sheltered, it's quite hunkered down, really. It wouldn't get the full blast of wind, I suppose. So there are always those external influences working on it, and then there's the brief and what you guys want to bring to the table, as it were.
What have you got in mind for the site? What sort of house do you see built here?
I don't want just a rectangular bungalow, that's what I don't want. But, you know, we'll have to see what Dennis comes up with.
The Elwoods currently live in Sligo town, in a 3-bed semi with their children Mackenzie, Scarlett and baby Kiefer. Patrick is a psychiatric nurse and Julie is an osteopath with a clinic in the back garden. Julie is from Sligo, but the couple met in the UK and lived there up to 2 years ago until they decided they wanted to live the country life. So they moved back to Sligo and began to plan for their dream of building their own house.
We both grew up in the countryside and we've got 3 small kids, and I think we want to give them the same upbringing that we had ourselves, you know, lots of countryside and animals and fresh air, and that's really what we're after.
The Elwoods are following a dream, but they're mindful of future security. They own their current house and are keeping it as a long-term rental investment. So after paying €250,000 for the site, they're determined to stick to a strict budget of €300,000 for the build. Julie says she doesn't want a rectangular bungalow and is excited about working with an architect, but Patrick has concerns.
To me, an architect likes to work with a big budget, likes to be imaginative and would use the kind of materials and specialist builders that I don't necessarily think that we, as a small family, would be able to afford.
And are you afraid that maybe bringing an architect on board, you know, it might sort of create a project that might spiral outside of your control?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, when we go into an office and say this is our budget, that has to be it. We've no buffer, really.
Yeah. Patrick's worries are understandable. When it comes to money, house building is rarely an exact science. Giving their architect a detailed and realistic brief is a good start. They're looking for 3 bedrooms with an extra room for Julie's osteopathy clinic. But what style of house do they want?
We're not hugely into clean lines and white surfaces, are we? So much. It's
no.
To me, it's the raw, natural look. This.
Yes, this is the oak beams, right?
And, you know, sort of flagstone floors and inglenook fires and all that sort of thing.
Okay, I can see the budget creeping up. Yes.
My only criteria really would be a good living space. I was brought up in a kitchen, really, and the other rooms were functional only to sleep, to wash, or to have Granny and Grandad around on Sunday. So one big room where everyone can run around, eat and sort of just express themselves is my main interest.
We loved this, just the back of this house.
Big windows I get from it.
Yeah, and lots of light. But I liked the mix there of the big sort of contemporary window in the old barn building.
That's right. It is an old. It looks like an old barn building, and that would have had a big opening in it for bringing in carts and everything else. But do you want an old barn?
I wouldn't say no to an old barn.
Okay, I like old barns.
Dennis has been set his challenge. Design an open-plan family house with a rustic twist for a tight budget and on a site with planning restrictions. But he's no stranger to designing one-off houses in the countryside. Dennis's creations may be eye-catching, but they're built to suit the needs of the people who live in them. He's an expert at making the most of light and views, and his choice of forms and materials help create large, open-plan spaces for modern family life.
You do try and talk to people and see if there's a key word or a key atmosphere or a key mood to just wrap everything else around.
Dennis's work is undoubtedly modern, but this time his inspiration must come from an old building, the barn. Today, the Elwoods are at Dennis's office to see his design for their house. It's been 3 weeks since they briefed him, but they've been dreaming of this house for a lot longer.
Somewhere in there, he's got the drawing of your house that you're going to spend all your life working to pay for.
Yeah.
Nervous?
Yeah, a little bit.
What are you nervous about?
Well, I suppose we will have a lot invested in this, so it's that it's right.
You nervous
We've got one
about
shot at it.
Yeah, it could upset the equilibrium.
Yeah, really? You ready to have a look?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Julie,
Hi,
Patrick, how are you? This is Gosha.
They're joined at the presentation by Dennis's colleague Gosha Meder, who will work with him as project architect on the house.
So, down to business.
Down to business.
He starts with something they weren't expecting. Dennis was concerned that for the size of house they want, their budget is tight, so he's come up with a clever idea. He's developed the barn concept into a series of options, ranging from a modest, smaller version.
This would be 1,400 square foot house that, you know, we think we could definitely build within the kind of given budget.
To a deluxe model.
By simple tweaking the length of it and perhaps extending the roof over, that can become this. Hey presto.
The overall concept is inspired by the idea of a cluster of farm buildings with a large barn at the centre. This is dominated by a vast double-height space containing the living and dining areas. The kitchen is tucked galley-style into the west-facing end, exposing it to glorious evening sunshine. Large glazed openings, both windows and doors, flood the space with light and show off the stunning views on all sides. Upstairs, the master bedroom overlooks matters from a mezzanine, a luxury version of the loft area in a traditional barn. On the ground floor, a children's bedroom quarter runs along the east-facing end, with sliding doors that allow the space to be divided up as 1, 2 or 3 rooms. The main building is also accompanied by 2 smaller buildings. One contains Judy's osteopathy clinic, and on the other side, there's a utility and services building.
What do you think, guys?
I love it.
Do you really?
I do, yeah.
Yeah?
I think it's great. Really, really good.
Dennis's approach is ingeniously flexible. If they can't afford everything right away, they could leave one or both of the smaller buildings until later, and even start off with a reduced version of the main barn. But there's no question, it's the full package that's making the immediate impact.
That's the dream house.
Is it really?
Yeah. Well, yes. You know, I think there's probably details, minor details to talk about, but I just think that's great. I think it's really good. What do you think?
I think it's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're happy?
It's not what I expected.
Really? What were you expecting?
I suppose I had my conventional head on. So
Yeah.
You see so many kind of square bedrooms with en suites and.
So you were seeing a series of boxes with a central hall.
Yeah, I like the
openness of
Yeah.
the space.
Yeah.
I suppose our anxiety is that we end up with a 1,400 square foot house, which is smaller than the house we're in. And I think the site is lovely, and I think the whole design is lovely, and I hope that we don't have to compromise like that. But I think it's been a very clever way of putting it together because we have options.
month later, the Elwoods have made a decision. They had intended holding on to their current house as a long-term rental property. It was their security for the future. But they've decided to sell it so they can fund the larger of the two designs.
We came home, we didn't sleep for 3 days because we wanted the house.
Yeah.
It was just a case of working on how we were going to get it.
Yeah.
We're not landlords by nature.
No, or speculators, and we're not really... We want a house, don't we? At the end of the day, we're happy to live in.
So we decided we'd just sell this one and make the most of the new one.
Yeah, I think that's very sensible. Just a nice clean cut.
Yeah.
You know, and get the house you really want.
Yeah.
Because that is superb.
So what is our budget?
400.
For the build?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a considerable change. So you've gone, it's actually quite a very interesting journey, and we can put a figure on it. You've gone through a €100,000 journey.
We have.
From when we saw the plans in the office, wasn't it, the model in the office?
Yeah.
I mean, it was obvious then it was a great house.
Yeah.
There is no doubt that if our budget has had to increase, and in the investigations and research that we've done, we would have built a big house. It may have been big and ugly, it may have not been as well laid out, but we would have been able to build a big house with our 300 budget. There is no doubt about that. They're being built all over the place. What we're building is a completely different spec, and it works very well and it looks very nice, but we've had to increase our budget by 25% to do it, and we're not even sure if that will cover it.
I have to say, I admire this couple. By deciding to give up the security of an investment property in order to finance their dream house, they've just raised the stakes considerably. But despite this big decision, they're not even close to starting their build yet. First, they have to apply for planning permission. The Elwoods played it as safe as possible when they bought a site with outline planning permission for a standard bungalow. But what they're now submitting to the council for full planning permission is anything but that. Dennis hopes that his design will get the OK because it's based on one of the most traditional rural architectural forms, the cluster of farm buildings. I agree. In a sense, it's actually far truer to the countryside than an off-the-shelf bungalow. But it's not what I think that matters. A look around rural Sligo yields very few clues as to what kinds of houses are getting planning permission. Like most of the Irish countryside, it's dotted with one-off houses in a range of styles. So it's hard to second-guess how the planners will feel about Julie and Patrick's house. And then, of course, there are the neighbours.
In this country, if you want to build something, not only do you have to get approval from the local planning authority, the public has the right to comment on planning applications as well. And even if the planning authority grants permission, the public still has the power to challenge that decision through appeal. It's almost as if we have to have a referendum on every single building that we build. The shortest time that the process can take is 3 months, but it frequently takes much, much longer than that. And for those who are hoping to build, it can be an absolutely nerve-wracking experience. Perfect. So when you come up to the site these days, because I'm coming up and I can see Dennis's house on the site right now, can you?
I can. I think it'll blend in nicely. It'll be more rustic.
And you think people are going to appreciate that?
I do. I don't think we'll have too much objection, I wouldn't have thought. Hopefully none.
Is it something that bothers you or worries you?
It would, yeah.
Yeah?
I think if you're building on a countryside, local people are a lot more affected by it than if you're in a town or on the outskirts of a town. And I'm very happy with what's been designed.
So have you actually spoken to any of your neighbours at all?
I have.
Said, look, this is what I'm going to do?
No.
One.
No, I've said hello first.
Yeah?
And that's gone well.
Did he say hello back?
He did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What a relief.
Yeah. And he said welcome, so.
For now, there's absolutely nothing that Julie, Patrick or Dennis can do except wait. The planners have complete control of the situation. What we're hoping for is that the council will get back to us in 8 weeks' time to say that they intend to grant approval, and that in 12 weeks' time we actually have the permission in our hands. What we don't want to have happen is for the planners to contact us within the next 8 weeks, because if they do, it probably means we've a problem. For anyone building a house, this waiting game is the most agonising part of the process.
Eight weeks after they lodged their planning application, architect Dennis Byrne rings the Elwoods with news. And it's not good.
There's an objection, or at least an observation by somebody to the council.
Okay.
It seems that they may take it to appeal.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
The council has said that while it intends to grant full planning permission, a member of the public has questioned the outline permission that originally came with the site. It turns out that years before, the site had been denied outline planning permission, and this person is arguing that the council should never have reversed that decision. The Observer now has the right to lodge a formal objection to On Board Planola. This is dreadful news and totally unexpected. The Elwoods always thought that if there was any issue, it might be with the design of the house, but this is a complete curveball.
Were you familiar with any of this at all? No. So this is totally brand new to you? The fact that there was planning permission ever turned down?
Yeah, because we actually went into the council, Patrick, about that site and that was never brought up.
No.
We went in and we had a chat with them about it, and we got a whole history of stuff that was granted and refused in the area, and that was never told to us.
So they never said that?
No.
That there was a history on your site?
No. Never. That's the first we've heard of that.
No.
They were just very pleased for us that we'd managed to find a site with outline on this. He's thrown in a grenade, hasn't he? Or tried to.
In your experience, how serious is this?
Well, in my experience, when somebody goes to this much trouble in making a comment during the comment phase, it's pretty likely that they're going to lodge an appeal to On Board Planola. Once it goes into the hands of On Board Planola, it's out of the hands of the local authority.
I suppose I'm a bit surprised. I thought the site was without issue. And we paid, way over the odds for it.
Patrick and Julie will know in 4 weeks' time if this observation will turn into an objection. At best, this would mean a 4-month delay. At worst, their whole project could be put in jeopardy. They've bought this site outright and they're afraid that they could be left with a €250,000 field that they can never build on.
Designs for Life, sponsored by Tegro Through Tone Plus slates with a 20-year colour guarantee. Be proud of what you build.
You rooted for the ogre. You cheered for the panda. DreamWorks Animation invites you to believe in monsters.
I love you!
No, Bob! Sorry, he's just a hugger.
This year, you've never seen heroes like this.
Whoa, that was cool.
Help me!
Sorry, I was just staring at this bird over there.
DreamWorks Monsters vs. Aliens.
Great offers at Aldi this month. Kiwi 69 cent, honeydew melon 69 cent, pineapple 69 cent, broccoli 69 cent, potatoes 69 cent, mixed veg just 69 cent. A great price, whichever way you look at it. Aldi, don't change your lifestyle, change your supermarket.
Did you know that your toddler needs at least 6 milligrams of iron per day to meet most of their iron needs? That's the equivalent of 20 litres of cow's milk, or just 2 cups of Cow and Gate Complete Care Growing Up milk, specifically tailored for toddlers aged 1 to 3, helping to support healthy growth, brain development and learning skills. Cow and Gate Complete Care Growing Up milk, because healthy toddlers are happy toddlers. Check if your toddler is getting enough iron at feedingforlife.ie.
Let's take a look at your traditional bank. All terribly grand, isn't it? Now, let's strip away the excess. Because guess who pays for all the frills? That's right, you guessed it. The customer pays. That's why so many people are turning to Postbank, the new bank, now in almost 1,000 local post offices. It's your approachable neighbourhood bank with people you can trust, with simple, straightforward products and ideas, like simply being open on a Saturday. Postbank, as simple as it should be.
Wherever you go, whatever you do, the day is what you make of it. Anywhere in your element. Hugo Element, the new fragrance from Hugo.
If your back ever gets a little twinge, with our life stage plans, not only do you enjoy excellent hospital cover, but we'll give you up to €40 back if you ever need to visit a physio. VHI Healthcare. When you need us, we're there.
Come on and special with Bisto.
Easy picking, easy planning, easy packing, easy going on a Friday. Easy now, easy walking, easy to explore, easy golfing. Easy come, easy go. Easy chilling, easy to go right now. Holidays in Ireland are dead easy. It's all here at discoverireland.ie. Right here, right now. Supported by Fáilte Ireland.
Designs for Life, sponsored by Tegro Through-Tone Plus slates with a 20-year colour guarantee. Be proud of what you build.
Julie and Patrick Elwood are selling their semi-D in Sligo town and building a dream home in the countryside for themselves and their 3 children. They've paid handsomely for a site with outline planning permission and were confident they'd get the go-ahead to build on it. But instead, disaster struck. The council granted permission, but a member of the public made an observation. The whole project lay in jeopardy, and the Elwoods were left to wait and see if this person would appeal the council's planning approval to An Bord Pleanála. Spring is here, and I'm travelling to Sligo to meet Patrick and Julie. There's been a development in the planning saga.
Right, guys, last time we met, we were in your house, and we were in a mad panic because things were absolutely, like, the world was falling down on top of us because everything was going wrong because somebody objected, right?
Yeah.
Tell me all about it. What happened?
It was really quite straightforward in the end. His grievances had nothing to do with us.
They were to do with the council.
That's it.
And to do with the policy.
That's it.
Yeah. So he just simply dropped it?
He did.
So panic over?
Panic completely over, planning through.
Yeah.
And how
but the granting of planning permission isn't the only big news.
Yeah. Julie is expecting another child now.
Oh, congratulations, that's fantastic news. So
that's what happens when Dennis took all the work off us. We had free time. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to find another project for you to do.
That's right, see?
But I mean, if they go, that's great news. I mean, when's the baby due?
In September.
So, I mean, it does sort of colour the whole picture of what this project is about, in a way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we've got practical things, you know, but have we got enough space for a fourth?
Yeah.
But I guess there are financial and, you know, those kinds of concerns as well that must be kind of lingering a bit.
Not really.
No? Good for you.
We've given up on things like that now. There comes a point you just...
The hell?
Just go with it.
Just drag them along.
You've no plan?
We have a plan. The house is for sale, and actually there's been, in a very quiet climate, there's been 3 different offers on the house. There's quite a bit of interest in it. And we're just a bit too laid back, I think, myself and Patrick, with it at the moment. We need to sit down and have a talk about it, because there's one very serious offer on it, but it would mean us having to move out in the next couple of months.
We did say originally €300,000 was the absolute max, and then a short while after that we got on to 400,000 was the absolute max. Where are we right now?
Oh, that's fixed.
We're going to have 4 young children, and we've got to pay this mortgage back. Interest rates are going higher, so we don't want to nail ourselves a huge mortgage. We're trying ourselves to be realistic about it, and if it means that certain things will have to be left out in the early stages, then they'll have to be left out. But we're really, really trying to stick to the 400 budget.
With the property market slowing up, Julie and Patrick are fortunate to have a few offers for their house. They're hoping to get €325,000, but they really need to finalise a sale as soon as possible. Those offers mightn't be around for long. It's been 7 months since my last visit to Sligo, and at the Elwood site, the only evidence of a build is that the concrete foundation has been laid. But it's taken a lot of work just to get to this stage. They sold their house for the asking price of €325,000 and are now renting in town. They hired a local building contractor and decided that their new house would be built using a timber frame. It's a decision that should speed up the build, something they're very keen on, as they don't want to be paying rent for too long. They plan to be moving in at Easter, just 6 months from now.
Building is a very funny game. For months on end, absolutely nothing happens. And then a day like today comes along and everything happens, and that's because the timber frame is about to arrive, which means that in a couple of hours' time, fingers crossed, we'll see the bones of the Elwood's new house. That is provided that the timber frame which is being cut off site fits exactly onto the concrete foundation we've got over here.
Most one-off houses in Ireland are constructed using concrete blocks, so a timber frame build is still relatively unusual. It's basically like putting together flat-packed furniture, albeit on a much grander scale. Each panel is individually numbered at the factory for precise assembly on site. It's vital, however, that both the timber frame company and the builder followed the architect's drawings to within millimetres. Even the smallest discrepancy could result in the house being the wrong size for its foundation.
Because of the way Dennis has designed this house, so that we've got this very large double height space right in the middle of it, what he's doing is he's actually creating a steel superstructure, and then all the timber sort of hanging off that or fitting in between it. So that's why we have these two very large steel columns. Now what's going to happen here is we'll have purlins which will be running from both of these columns straight the way back here, and then we'll be hanging our wall panels and our roof off of that. It's a little bit unusual, not typical of timber frame construction, but nevertheless it seems to be working very well. And as you saw earlier on, the tolerance between the steel when it arrived and the timber panels on either side was very, very tight, very, very impressive.
The great thing about a timber frame house is that once on site, it goes up very quickly. The softwood used is also a renewable resource, and the finished houses tend to be easy to heat and energy efficient. But Patrick is not entirely convinced about the resilience of his wooden house.
I still have a niggling issue regarding timber frame and the weather here and the wind and it all looks very wooden, and psychologically there's something about big thick blocks versus a timber and insulation. You know what I mean? And the steel gives me some reassurance that it's going to stay up.
I'm glad to hear that. Perhaps maybe 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, it wasn't really all that realistic to suggest that you build in timber in Ireland. But I mean, all of that has changed. Like the guys who are working for you are sort of leading Northern Europe in timber frame construction.
Day one complete, and there's the guts of a house to see. It's amazing what can happen in 10 hours. And it's not the only new arrival. Matilda Elwood was born 2 days ago, and Julie is here to get her first view of the house.
Yeah, congratulations. Thank you. This is Matilda. Oh, look.
I couldn't stay away.
No?
No.
Because you're not supposed to be here
I'm
today.
not.
Why not?
I should be in hospital, I suppose.
Really? What do you think of the new place? Great,
It's great, yes. It's gone up very fast, isn't it? It's very impressive.
Isn't it?
It is.
So, since last we met, you've sold the house, you moved into the rental accommodation. How's that working out?
I think the only pressure, because it's very comfortable, the only pressure would be financial, because we're coming to the point now where we've almost got a full mortgage coming up on this, and we're paying rent on the property. But other than that, you know, we're not in a huge hurry. The house is perfectly okay.
So other than the fact that you're about to go flat broke,
that's it.
Everything's okay.
We've got to pay for all these children.
With its timber skeleton in place, attention will now turn to the skin of the building. Dennis has chosen a striking palette of materials for his barn. Traditional black slates will cover the pitched roofs, with contrasting zinc sheeting on the flat sections. The upper half of the external walls will be clad in cedar, laid in thin, horizontal planks and stained light grey. On the lower half, Dennis is using sheets of black fibre cement cladding. It's a material more commonly seen on industrial buildings and is a daring and possibly risky choice for a house. With its distinctive shape and unusual finishes, this is a house that'll turn heads and probably divide opinion. By midwinter, the 21st century barn is making its mark on the Sligo landscape. The roof is on, and the cedar cladding is almost finished. Architect Dennis Byrne has worked hard to express the elegant outline of the structure.
You've managed to achieve a very crisp look here. I'm looking at your eaves detail in particular.
Yeah.
No overhang.
No external gutter where you have the frame and you build a cladding layer out on top of it. Then there is the potential for hiding the down pipes, the traditional things for getting water off. It is, in effect, a secret gutter.
But Julie, this is, wow. This is fantastic. You must be thrilled, yeah?
It is, it's great, yeah.
Double height space.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Actually, I think the double height space really came to me when the chimney stack went in. Before that, I would come in and have a look around and it looked fine, but actually when the chimney stack went up, I think it draws your eye right up and I think it looks great.
And with the balcony as well, you sort of begin to get a sense of what this place is going to be like. Plus the roof, because then you realise, wow, it's really tall, very, very spacious.
Yeah.
The last of the windows are being installed. It's a big day in a house that's 35% glass. They've gone for a high-spec Scandinavian system, which should save on energy costs in the future. And they'll certainly need it, as this house is now running over budget. 5 months ago, Julie was adamant that they wouldn't spend more than €400,000 on the build. But even before construction began, this limit was already shot. The fixed tender price with their builder is €425,000, and that figure doesn't include kitchens and bathrooms. And now their budget is creeping up even more.
The price, it's always going to be a little bit more, isn't it? And I suppose we only hope that we're at the end of the little bit mores. So far, we're a bit over budget.
In what areas?
The windows cost a bit more. We made some changes with the windows. The zinc roof was more expensive than we expected it to be. I think it's going to cost somewhere in or around 8 or 10 grand more. Yes.
Yeah, that is kind of significant, actually.
It is. We had a contingency fund for a flash kitchen that's been eaten into. You know, I'm just glad that we had the contingency fund. We can always use a camping stove or something.
Tea chests. You'll be eating off tea chests.
That's it. I don't care, so long as the house is up and it's good. I'd love it to be part of the island.
Despite having blown the contingency fund earmarked for the kitchen, Julie has some ideas for work surfaces, which won't be cheap.
So many there. See now, you've got the...
That type of thing is like terrazzo.
What's terrazzo?
It's a polished concrete.
Yes, yeah.
It's really nice. Expensive, but nice.
Is it really expensive? Is it? Is it? Oh, well, God, I thought we could get Adrian out with this... No?
We're at an interesting stage in the process. The exterior of the barn is more or less nailed, but the question now becomes, what does the interior of a 21st century barn actually look like? It's around about now that clients can start getting buzzed about the whole situation. Julie has really bought into the design of the house and she's extremely motivated, and you can see that she's beginning to think about how the internal spaces should be functioning for her. It's been very interesting to see how her sense of design has evolved since the process began. Now, it's also at this stage in the project that people can start losing sight of the budget. People can get carried away with the spend on internal fittings and finishes. The challenge for Dennis and the Elwoods is to bring the sense of excellence that they've achieved on the exterior of the building to the interior of the building without blowing the budget. And that can be a tricky balancing act.
Three months later and the fibre cement cladding is almost finished. It was an adventurous choice, but I think it's paid off. The industrial theme feels very true to the working barn concept. It's also very practical. It won't splinter like wood, so it's much more tactile for children. And it's impervious to damp, which is a bonus in this climate. Julie wants the interior to look equally robust and contemporary. She now has her heart set on a polished concrete work surface for the kitchen. Herself and project architect Gosha are checking out a kitchen with a similar work surface. It's going to be pricey, so they need to be sure she gets the exact look she's after.
It's actually really different to what I imagined. Didn't expect so much of the bits in it. I expected,
aggregate, yeah. This is a brighter sample.
Okay.
Pretty similar, but the aggregate is much bigger.
I think that probably the closest to what I'm looking for would be the grey concrete with the very small black aggregate.
And that's it.
Julie could be looking at spending up to €12,000 on this polished concrete, so she wants to get it right.
I really wanted something a bit more industrial and rough looking, and that wasn't it. I'm so sure about what I want, and if that's going to come at a higher price, then we will have to wait. But I'm not going to settle for something that I don't want.
While Julie is focusing on the new, Back at their rented house, Patrick is facing the reality that a lot of their old furniture may now be surplus to requirements.
This is our storage facility. It's the garage to the house. Cupboards, TV, cooker, big table. We're going to take the table. We've got a great big nice oak table in here, which we bought in a barn in England a long time ago. And that's one we want to take with the chairs. That'll go into the new main lounge. Other than that, I'm looking to get rid of so much stuff. It's a shame though, because the old antique wood isn't popular over here. People tend to buy new. See, everything's kind of in the new house in terms of storage. It's all been designed in, so we don't need cupboards, we don't need any paraphernalia. We've got enough tables.
Even the kids' beds, we've got bunk beds built into the house, built into their rooms.
So we've got a few spare beds, probably a few spare tables. So really, we could actually do with getting rid of an awful lot of stuff.
The house we had when we were in Cambridge was a 200-year-old cottage, and oldie-worldy furniture really suited it. But we're moving into a much more contemporary house with lots of glass, and you can't stick cupboards up against it. So we've had to become much more clever with our use of space.
New figures show the decline in house building will continue into next year. It comes as the dollar hit a new low against the euro this afternoon, and the price of oil rose to a record high of just under $110 a barrel.
The economy is slowing down, and this house is now costing significantly more than they planned to spend. They're taking on a larger mortgage in a time of uncertainty. But Julie and Patrick are remaining positive about their situation.
It doesn't affect us in the sense that it's a house we're going to live in anyway, ad infinitum. So it would only affect us if we couldn't afford to live in it. Really, at the end of the day, that's it. Because it wasn't an investment. We weren't looking ahead to sell on. So therefore, it's our house. So the economy is only relevant to us in the sense that we can work. If we can work, we can live in the house. So
we can work.
We can work.
On the wish list for their dream home, the Elwoods were very clear about item number 1, a large living space. And they certainly have that. It's an impressive 730 square feet, about the size of a city apartment. But open plan living has its challenges. With everything located in the same room, it can be hard to control noise and smells. And at the scale of this house, it could run the risk of feeling a bit cavernous and impersonal. Dennis is hoping to make things cosier by finishing the walls and doors in birch plywood. It's another added cost, but hopefully it will have the desired effect. The interior design of her house has really captured Julie's imagination. She's just spent €1,500 on a light for the living room, but without consulting her architect beforehand.
I mentioned to Dennis the light fitting.
Seems enormously big.
It's fab.
Have you got the... Well, let me see it.
This is that.
And that's nearly a metre wide.
It is, yeah. I think this room can really take it.
Design battles are brewing between client and architect. Julie also wants to change the internal doors. The plan had been to have birch doors in the living area only and paint the rest white. But Julie now thinks that all the doors should be birch. Dennis and Gosha do not agree.
So I just thought that we would possibly be better sticking with the same door throughout. Okay.
But I thought that, for example, like doors to the toilet.
Stuff we don't see.
Exactly. Yeah. We could go with a plain white.
I think a birch door is a nicer looking door than a white painted door.
Now, I've heard that you're expressing your own architectural opinions and you're sort of overriding our architect's official view on how the doors are supposed to work in this building. Explain.
I just thought they've got to be birch if they want the whole area here to have a birch finish. And I'm absolutely sure I could be wrong on this, but I don't know, what do you think?
Just go for the white, it makes an awful lot of sense. I mean, what they're saying is if you've got a very special kind of a finish downstairs in your living room, okay, and it's all about having this birch finish up to about 2.2,
okay,
and the doors all kind of blend in with that, well, you're creating a very kind of special space.
Okay.
Now, if you start to repeat that detail in other rooms, you're kind of watering it down, do you know what I mean?
There you go. Well, it's not my architectural eye overriding anything, it's my inexperienced eye.
That's exactly what I was going to say to you.
The build is progressing, but the original deadline is blown. The Elwoods had thought they'd be living in the house by now. Julie has fixed a new date, and this one is non-negotiable.
How fixed is the move-in date?
I want it to be the 18th, 19th.
Of what?
Of June, 8 weeks' time. I really, really want us to be here.
It's a lot of work in 8 weeks, though.
Do you think so?
Oh, yeah, it's a lot of work.
Oh, God, don't say that.
No, it is a lot of work.
Right, well, I'm going to be here kicking ass then.
Do you have a plan B?
No.
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 So it's the 18th of June.
Or die.
Or die.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so impressed at how the relationship between the architect and the client has developed on this project, and the proof of it is in the house, which I think is fantastic, and the more I see of it, the more I really like it. Julie says she wants to be in this house in 8 weeks' time. That might be just a tiny bit optimistic. As you saw, there's a lot of work to do, but we'll see how it goes.
A few weeks later, it looks like the kitchen budget is on the up again. Julie had been planning to offset the high cost of the concrete work surface by going for low-cost, off-the-shelf kitchen cabinets. But that plan has been scuppered, and that means more money being spent.
We realised that we actually left the kitchen way too late.
Yeah.
Thinking that we could buy one in from IKEA and be done with it. Because we're getting really good work surfaces, we thought stick in something cheap and cheerful. Nobody's going to see it. But actually it was never going to work out because the doors that we were looking for, no packaged kitchen place will do them.
No, you can't do that in this picture.
You become so invested yourself emotionally in the house that at this stage, second best is just never going to be good enough.
We've not been foolish.
We've not been foolish to
No.
No, I don't think
You
so.
know, I mean, you could say one of the biggest expenses in the house was probably as a one-off.
My light.
It was your light. No, the window, your light. Yeah, I forgot about that. No, that was foolish. Anyway, we haven't seen that yet. Anyway.
But a month later, they get some worrying news. After stretching themselves to get the kitchen they wanted, it looks like the downturn in the economy has affected them in a way they never anticipated. The company that was building their kitchen is in trouble.
Our worst fears have come into reality when we got this great kitchen guy who came highly recommended about 6 weeks ago. And they came down, they showed us the work we could do. We were delighted. They wanted a deposit. We had no reason to feel that that was the problem because everybody needs a deposit, I suppose, to get things underway. And I suppose since then, it's just been a case of not being able to get in touch with them, spending literally 10 days at a time trying to get hold of them, eventually getting hold of somebody, them telling us that everything was fine, until last week we got the truth, and that was that everything wasn't actually fine, that there was financial trouble in the company and that there was a good chance that we weren't going to get a kitchen. We've actually been given the runaround. The only thing they've actually managed to do is cash the cheque. They did that within 24 hours of receiving it, and really it's not money I'm just can get out of another pocket to do the job. It's gone.
If Julie and Patrick don't get their deposit back, their kitchen budget will be under serious strain.
I just can't believe that there are people like that out there. I just can't believe that somebody will do that knowingly and give you absolutely nothing in return.
Designs for Life, sponsored by Tegro Through-Tone Plus slates with a 20-year colour guarantee. Be proud of what you build.
These days, everyone's getting a bit smarter with their money. And sure, don't we all love a deal? So don't miss a great new way to make big savings. The Big Switch. It's electricity from Bord Gosh Energy. Same wires, same plugs, just a minimum 10% cheaper. And who wouldn't want 10% off? 10% off, 10% off, 10% off, and 10% off. So make the big switch. Get on the phone or go online. Go on. Make the big switch to electricity from Bord Gosh Energy today.
Unzip the value with Lenore Concentrate. It's up to 33% cheaper per wash than Lenore Regular and bursting with freshness and softness. Lenore, feel more.
phenomenal. That's what you have to be world class. Experience that inner confidence and be on top of your game with Gillette Fusion Power Phenom. Fusion Power is Gillette's best ever shave, with its 5 blades spaced closer together for more comfort. You'll barely feel them. And the Fusion Power range was voted best razor in these leading men's publications. Gillette Fusion Power. Now see how it performs for you.
Open an EBS family savings account for a brighter future for your family. Save from €100 a month and enjoy an impressive 5.1% interest rate. So as your family grows, make sure your savings grow with them. Drop into your local EBS and start saving with us today.
Porque o samba nasceu lá na Bahia, se hoje ele é branco na poesia, se hoje ele é branco na poesia, ele é negro demais no coração.
Awaken your senses with the new intense aroma of the Nescafé collection.
Women are not made to be invisible. But protection should be. And Vive by Always for sensitive bladder. With super absorbing microchannels. Protection that lets your confidence stand out. And Vive by Always.
Welcome to Lindt and the secrets of our master chocolatiers.
Where have all the gold bunnies gone?
Well, they're very shy, but as it's Easter, maybe you can find one.
The Lindt Gold Bunny, our finest, smoothest chocolate in its most magical form. The Gold Bunny from Lindt, master chocolatier since 1845.
Look at this. Would you ever have a facelift? Oh, you mean like this? Are you kidding? At 50, I have my own lift expert. Oh, tell me.
New Nivea Visage Expert Lift Day Cream Anti-Sagging System for smoother, noticeably younger-looking skin that you can see and feel with hyaluronic acid and natural bioxylift. Nivea Visage Expert Lift.
It works for me.
Because beauty is now and forever.
Designs for Life, sponsored by Tegro Through Tone Plus slates with a 20-year colour guarantee. Be proud of what you build.
It's been over a year since the timber frame of the Elwood's 21st century barn went up, and their second deadline for moving in has come and gone. They're still paying rent as well as nearly a full mortgage, and they're under pressure to get into the house.
How do we get the shower and the shower tray and the door back to you? I want something that's solid and good and sturdy, but nothing elaborate. I'd never realised what a problem sanitary ware traps and taps, and we're getting there, but it has been a nightmare.
It's very busy. One in, one out the door at the moment with work, and Julie basically living with the mobile phone and talking to suppliers and the contractor and trying to get everything coordinated. They're all bottlenecking up.
Their original kitchen company did go bust, and the Elwoods never got the deposit back, but they found someone else to do the job.
He's been great to work with so far. It's refreshing after the last kitchen fiasco. I suppose I found just in the last few weeks it's a bit more difficult trying to manage things down here with the architects being so far away, and I just feel that there needs to be somebody out here virtually all of the time. Okay, so when do you think you might be out here? Around 3 o'clock? I thought it was going to be 2 doors stuck together. Just leaving a message for the plumber. Oh, I would really prefer to be talking to him. And it's just the handle, there's no lock thing on it.
Right, that's the 3 bathrooms.
No, that's for all of the rooms.
Right.
Every room has that handle.
In August 2006, architect Dennis Byrne presented his design for a dream house on a beautiful rural site in County Sligo. It promised a lot: open plan living, wonderful views, flexible accommodation for a family that's already grown by 1 member since the journey began, And now, over 2 years later, his design has become a reality.
When I first met Julie and Patrick Elwood, they had this vision of creating a new life for themselves and their family in rural Ireland. They'd moved country, they'd spent an awful lot of money on a site, and they wanted a house which would embody their dreams and their aspirations. At the very beginning, Julie said that she didn't want a rectangular bungalow, which she certainly hasn't got that. This is Dennis Byrne's 21st century barn, and I just can't wait to see how the final article has turned out. Hey guys.
Hi, Gary. How are you?
Good to see you.
You too.
Patrick, how are you?
Great.
Wow, look at this place. Just walking in the door, it absolutely looks stunning. It looks amazing.
From early in the build, this large central room had immediate impact. The challenge was then to transform it into a family-friendly living space, and they've pulled that off in spades. The birch panels contrast wonderfully with the granite floor. And the towering central chimney, which divides the living and kitchen areas, accentuates the height and airiness of the space, while its fireplace lends a cosy, almost rustic feel to it.
Although I know it's a contemporary house, there's something very Irish about this house, do you not think? I mean, is it to do with the fact that the hearth is right in the middle of it, or the kitchen is such a prominent part? It just feels like it's a big family space.
This is definitely the hub of the house. Like we live very much in the kitchen, and the kids are always around, and it's great actually. It's working really well.
It's easy to see why the Elwoods are so happy with their new home. Just being in this space makes you feel better. Even on a midwinter day, it's bathed in light, thanks to these vast expanses of glass. Julie's mission to find the perfect concrete kitchen worktop paid off. At almost 11 grand, it wasn't cheap, but its deep grey finish looks beautiful and should give years of service. And it contrasts beautifully with the birch ply kitchen doors. The units were eventually made by the local cabinet maker who came to their rescue.
After all the work and the effort that went into the kitchen, it was really worth it at the end of the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think
You're happy with it?
I love it. It's exactly what we were looking for.
Upstairs, Mom and Dad have their own quarters where they can get away from it all while still having a bird's eye view on the action downstairs. The gallery outside their bedroom is another success. Once again, Dennis has gone for birch plywood to create an elegant nook with recessed lighting. It's a haven from the bustle downstairs and a space that could easily become a library or study area. And below, tucked in behind the stairs, is Dennis's suite of children's bedrooms with their adaptable sliding doors.
We're in the girls' room here.
That's right.
And this is one of the rooms that forms part of the little suite that Dennis created, which we can see now when we open up these fantastic partitions.
Yeah, well, this is a spare room, so it's kind of an extra bed at the moment, and this walks through then into Kiefer's bedroom.
So typically we have 3 separate rooms. Pull the doors back, and you've got this one big space.
Yeah, it's great actually. We've already used this quite a bit. The girls' cousins have been over, and rather than them fighting about who sleeps with who, we just open back all the walls and everybody feels as if they're in one bedroom.
For Julie, one of the reasons for choosing Dennis's larger design from the beginning was to get her osteopathy clinic in its own dedicated wing. It's turned out to be the perfect healing room.
It's just a really nice space for me to work in. It's got beautiful views of the mountain, and it's really light and airy. Most of my patients are children and babies, so for parents to come in here and just chill out for a while I work with the kids, it works very, very well.
Outside, the barn is already a distinctive presence in the Sligo countryside. Dennis's decision to clad a large portion of this house in black fibre cement board was bold, but it's worked out really well. It helps to anchor the house to its site, and I think it'll bed into its surroundings even more with the help of some planting.
So what do people say about it, Patrick? What kind of comments do you get?
Good, really. Someone wanted to know if it was made of plastic.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Most people are quite happy with the traditional type of build, to be honest. And they would stick with that. And they look at this and go, blimey. I think it looks lovely.
I like it very much, I have to say. I think it looks great.
Architect Dennis is also paying a visit today. It's his first opportunity to see how the Elwood family are settling into the house he designed.
So you've been here, I think, what is it, 4 months now, guys?
Yeah.
In what way has life changed for you?
Where do we start? Yeah, we're not in town.
The kids are out more.
Yeah.
The kids play
Fresh
outside
air.
a lot more. We've no television. The space means that we spend a lot of time very naturally together. And there's little things that have changed. I'm not sure how we can put it down to the house, but they'll eat vegetables with their dinner now, which we really struggled with. And maybe it's because cooking is more of an enjoyable family thing. We all stand around and we do it together, and the girls get involved and they chop the vegetables, and we've got the space to do it, and they'll eat them.
They're more hungry, maybe.
They're maybe more hungry.
Less Simpsons.
Less Simpsons and more
Cartoon
outside
Network.
digging holes.
Yeah.
What were these guys like as clients?
Pretty good clients, wonderful clients, I would have to say. I thought they were people that kind of accompanied us on a journey, you know, which is not often, you know, the case.
We're really good friends at the end of it.
Yes.
I think we'll probably stay in contact. We'll
Yes.
be pestering you for the next few years.
No,
won't
I
you?
would-
I have a leak in my house, Dennis.
Yeah.
All those years ago when we started off this project, you told me that you had €300,000 to spend. That was your budget.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to tell me now exactly how much this house cost to build.
500,000.
500,000.
Give or take.
The house.
Plus the site, which was?
250.
So the whole house cost €750,000,
Yeah.
which is quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Times have changed so much.
Well, personally, this was never an investment. It was our house. And we never looked at it as an investment, which is one of the reasons why we sold Thornhill in the end, because we actually wanted to build the house that fitted the site and fitted our needs.
If somebody walked up to the door tomorrow and offered any amount of money, I wouldn't sell this house. And I really mean that. Wouldn't sell it.
Well, like everyone else now, you've just got to kind of keep your head down and...
Keep your head down, but that's okay. You can't buy a lifestyle. We've got it.
There's no question this house has come at a big price. If they started building today, they may well get it for less, and if they did put it on the market right now, it's hard to see them getting their money back. For a lot of people, that would be a major stress. But for the Elwoods, this is their design for life, and getting that represents value for money.
For me, this is a great example of what a modern family home should be. It's contemporary, but it's livable. It takes complete advantage of its beautiful setting. And above all, it just seems like such a perfect fit for the Elwood family and how they live their lives. Most of us, if we're lucky, will get to spend maybe 20 years living in the same house as our kids. And that's a very small proportion of our life, if you think about it. By working with Dennis to design and build their home, Julie and Patrick have created a place where the limited time that the family will live together as a group can be as happy and fulfilling as they could possibly hope for. It may be a barn, but you have to agree with me, it's a very special barn.
And next Thursday at 10:10, some brave entrepreneurs also have their sights on a dream of sorts as they enter the Dragon's Den.
Designs for Life.